Hello, everybody, and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael, and today we are looking at a park called Seven Flags. And so I'm wondering if this creator got any inspiration from Six Flags. As you can see, it's got a lot of custom scenery in it. It's more built along the realism aspect, and it's created by Mr. Potato Hands. And as you can see, the description to the park below, and make sure to go check it out in the Frontier Workshop. But basically, it says Seven Flags Amusement Park featuring 4 custom coasters, 4 flat rides, 2 track rides, and over 50 shops, 100% custom everything. The stuff I didn't make but couldn't tag, um, and there's some information about what was not tagged that he couldn't make. He said Christmas trees, and he gives the tags to the creators that made it. And so there's turnstiles. He gave me credit for that. Um, T-shirt rack NH99, and so he definitely, with the 4 or 5 things that were in the park that this creator didn't create, gave credit to those creators in the description, which is really nice. So I suggest to go and check it out in the workshop and download and rate. And so kind of excited to take a look at this. And as this is a this creator is somebody who is a part of the Facebook Discord group and a follower on YouTube. So I definitely wanted to check out the park and give my feedback and advice. But right away, it's definitely, um, I maybe would hide this entryway, um, if possible. Like maybe have it. You could extend this part out just a tad bit, and you could have the main entrance kind of hidden to where they kind of walk through kind of um, some kind of building or something to get into the park. And these lockers, I believe, are created by Tommy P. I think I'm correct on that. I could be wrong, but nice spot to put lockers. And one thing I suggest too is this is on the PS4 if I didn't say that. So I believe it's at the limit is you can place 4 plan. Wow, I can't speak. Place ceiling panels down to kind of section off this area. So that's one thing you can do. And I can show you, if I notice throughout the park that there isn't any of that, I can kind of show and give an example. But I like this custom ticket booth. So you made um, some custom computers and different stuff. Maybe you can put some actual screens behind it, just to kind of, in theory, have like the prices and stuff like that. But nice job trying to make the custom computers and keyboards. And maybe color it different than yellow, maybe like a black and white or something like that, but looks good. So we got Planet Coaster right here. Maps, lockers, fast passes. Yeah, so this would definitely be another one where I'd place down some sort of ceiling um, tiles. Let me just show this real quick just to. So what you can do is go here. And the ones I really like to do, I like the Gozier Temple. Is that how you say it? The temple pieces. Or you can even do this. Well, what's going on? Hold on. You can even do the Victorian roof tile. Hold on, I think I need to get in a different camera mode. There we go. I was in the wrong camera mode. Um, and you split it from building, and then you just place it down on the ground like this, and you kind of want it to be about halfway between that pillar, in my opinion, because then we're going to come back through and we're going to place. And so, like one thing you could do is you can erase this, and then just kind of making sure it doesn't stick through the walls at all. And if it does, then you can just like advance move it and just move it back just a touch. But that's good. So now what you can do from there is you can use hazard strips if you want. I kind of like using those sometimes. So if we go here, we go to the hazard. So I like using the ones that kind of have the little bit of, yeah, something like that. Actually, real quick, what I need to do. There we go. So I just needed to make sure and get it where it was aligned with, so it'd be going straight. And I would color this like a gray, maybe like a dark gray would be how I would choose to color that. Yeah, so you could do something like this. Another piece that I like to use is you can even place in the ground a little bit further if you need to. But then you just kind of have this going across. Yeah, and so there it kind of creates that kind of border between the two, the inside and outside. One other piece that I like using is the balcony. Oh, no, that's not what I meant to do. If you use which balcony was it? Yeah, if you use the castle balcony and you color whatever color you want it to color, you can just move it down the ground like this, and it creates sometimes even a nice curb, a nice border, something like that. So that's kind of another piece to keep in mind, because you could use that instead right here. Oops, I don't know what happened. There we go. All right. Yeah, so that's just what I would suggest. Whenever you have those interiors, is place the ceiling tiles down, because I think that kind of adds that realism to the two kind of areas being separate. And I like using having the security cameras. I need to put more of those in my park. I'm either when this has come out, either about to start working on or working on right now. And I love the use of these. Those are really cool, really well done. I like how you've got a separate area for wheelchairs. You got the exit signs. That's a nice touch as well. And then this building, I do wish they gave us different letters because I just personally hate these letters. Like, to me, they're only used at like certain times, and I just don't feel like that part fits as much. Um, but I do like how you've got different kind of buildings here. Um, I think they need to be decorated a little bit more, like maybe a little bit wider as well. But I think it's a really good kind of idea and concept. And thank you for using the turnstiles. I think I got the idea from Tommy P and some other people when I first made those. And this here, this might be. Is this NH's? Yep. So NH made this in his uh, Frontierland Park, and it's just amazing. So I think this is a really cool kind of use in the park. You change the colors to kind of fit your style, which is nice. It's a good little ride to kind of start off the area. You got some foliage around it. Now, I will say one thing I'm not a huge fan of is how this this is kind of the visual you see right away, and it's kind of missing some supports there. So I just personally would have probably done the log flume maybe over this way to where you could kind of have it map or like mask the terrain a little bit, if that makes sense. Um, that's just my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of log flumes, and especially when they kind of dominate the visual like that. Um, yeah, and I think with this train, I don't mind this going over the path like this. I just think you need to, what you did here, you could put another one in the center. And because, I mean, you see that all the time where they've still got a couple supports from the train on the actual path. But this is a nice entryway. So we got some, oh, I like that, some vending machines. I like the little covering. That's a cool idea that I need to use. That is a really cool idea. Great job. And it looks like we got a flat right here that's skinned. So that's really cool. Ride and Scenery by Monster Crowley, I think is how you pronounce that. So good job giving credit to the creator. And what was this? This was Blaze. Okay. Ooh, interesting. Is this a coaster? I don't know what this is. By the name, I would guess it probably is. I like I like how you covered the path here and stuff. This is really cool. This is a nice cue. What ceiling? Oh, okay, cool. Use um, the crypt ceiling. So I was wondering what kind of gave it that look underneath, but that looks really awesome. This is a nice cue. And you got that what's probably more of a family coaster that goes beside it. I could be wrong about that, but that track type looks like that. Oh, let's see if we can ever get to the entrance. All right, so it looks like we have ourselves a coaster. Cool. Oh, these lights are interesting. They look kind of weird during the day, but I wonder what they're like at night. Yeah, I mean, it's a little different, but I think it kind of fits with the style that you're kind of trying to make with this coaster. So it looks like a floorless. Yeah, it's a floorless werewolf coaster. Stats look good. G-force is not too bad. That one's maybe a little bit high. But let's see. We've got 4 inversions. So let's go ahead and take a ride on this coaster. That's not what I meant to do. You know, maybe just hide those area lights there in the ground. Um, I know that's maybe not the most realistic, but I just kind of like hiding them where they're not um, visually visible. That's not how you'd say that, but you know what I mean. Oh, all right. So that was Blaze, and I like how there's a little transfer track back here. I would like to see, but I guess maybe this, when you reach the limit, you kind of sometimes have to pick and choose what you detail more and stuff. But on your next park, maybe starting to add more detail to kind of the transfer track area would be cool. Like using some of the studio pieces and stuff, or adding like a cable box and wires, stuff like that. But it was a good ride. I think you could have smoothed this part out a little bit more, especially as it got down here, because then it like overbanked. Instead of it overbanking at first, it kind of overbanked as you got closer down here. So I think just smoothing that out just a tad bit would work. But other than that, it's pretty smooth ride throughout. Maybe a little bit more banking on this first kind of turnaround going over here. But I thought it was good. I thought the triggers were nice. The layout was strong. The only thing I would say too is, let's see, how fast do you have this? Well, I guess I can't. Yeah. And maybe how that lift hill looks. It's not consistent all the way up until the top portion. Um, but yeah, so actually, it's not bad with how long it waits there. So one thing you could do as well is you could change the wait time at the station if need be to try to get it to where this coaster doesn't actually sit at the top and wait. But overall, good ride, good first ride for us to go on. A very unique kind of station design, and it is always interesting. Like in this game is really predicated around us creating squares and rectangles and nothing else. So it's very tough to create buildings that don't follow that mold, which I would have, continued this. Oops, hold on. Let's see. Continue that up to like right here or something, and then kind of going across. Um, but yeah, so it's cool to kind of see how different creators kind of make their squares and rectangular buildings unique and stand out. And so there's detail on this, which is nice, and using a lot of different types of building pieces. So very, I like how it turned out. Good coaster. So let's continue. Oh, and one thing I want to point out too, from a realism standpoint, that was nice is placing the security cameras throughout the station. Now, I don't know if there would be this many. I mean, you might just have them in strategically placed areas. But that's one thing that I've noticed that you're able to kind of focus on is kind of think of that security aspect of stuff. All right, once again, another area for vending machines. Nice covering. I feel like if you're going to do something like this, though, it kind of needs some kind of like cross beams or something. Like maybe you could, instead of having two of these going up, just have one of them, you know? Or I guess that is the whole piece. Um, yeah, or maybe instead of, is this the 4 meter slant or 2 meter? Oh, that's the, yeah. Yeah, I probably would just add some kind of extra support there. But it looks good. And this is another area where if you wanted to, you could place the ceiling tiles down. Since we're kind of seeing that portion of it. You also, let's see, what terrain paints did you choose? Yeah, so I don't know if you know, but you can actually choose your terrain paint loadout if you choose a custom biome, and you can choose to have the tarmac so that you can kind of try to mask this area of it. Hammer swing. Okay, so we got the arcade area, circus casinos. Was this made? Now, did you make these, or was this by Because I know Insomniac made something similar to this kind of when the game first came onto console. And I do like how you got this fencing all around and a lot of rocks and stuff. Makes it realistic. So let's go to the left. We got Ice Age 4D. That's a cool sign. And so I think it's just this building is supposed to. Yep, movie starts every 30 minutes, Ice Age. That's a cool touch. Like, you're not actually creating a show, but it allows for you to kind of give that visual of this space being represented by something else. So that's really cool. I think this is a pretty cool look, too, of the coaster. Is this a. Yeah, that's a more family oriented coaster. Yeah, only thing I'd say there, just by first visually looking at it, is because of how long these coasters are, to have these small kind of hills like this, it kind of lurches forward. So maybe what you can do is have this be just a tad bit longer or larger, and then kind of, so instead of doing two bunny hills, you kind of do one, and it kind of eases up into the station. All right, so this is the kids coaster. So it's called Ninja. Wow, I gotta say, I was not expecting that to go upside down. That's that's pretty cool. I mean, you wouldn't see that in real life, but that is pretty cool. Um, definitely needs some smoothing here and there, but I think the inversion was really good. Um, and one thing I do want to point out, because I forgot to mention this earlier, this ride is um, kind of shares the same concepts of that other one in terms of what I'm going to talk about. Um, but if you look here, so you've got this longer station, right? And the reason you've got the longer station is because you want to run two coaster trains on the track. Well, I'm going to actually pause this for a second because I want to edit something to kind of show you. Um, so if we look right here, okay, so you do have Okay, never mind. You do have a block section. So what I would suggest then, if you got a block section, is just shorten up your station so that you don't have to have like a really massively long station. Um, and what you can actually do as well is you can actually change this first one to a block section here or something like that. So that then once that first coaster hits this part and passes through this point, then the other coaster is allowed to go, and you don't have to wait till it reaches this one all the way up here. Just kind of a suggestion idea. Um, and I feel like there's one other thing I was gonna look at on here. Is I do like the kind of mountainy type kind of vibe here. But yeah, when you're going through and smoothing, one thing you can do is, so if you take three pieces at a time and just kind of smooth that out, and I know sometimes it can kind of change the shaping, but usually it does it in a way that it makes sense. And so you just kind of go through and do that. And so now it's not as, the turn doesn't seem to be as kind of drastic there at the bottom. So now we can look and so it doesn't quite whip you as drastic there at the bottom of it. So that's kind of how I go about and smooth out the coaster, is take three pieces at a time and so forth. And so one thing you can do as well is for like this portion in here, which is kind of hard to see. Let's actually do this part. So one thing you can do is you can highlight a section, and then if you hold down square, you can then bank it more. And so, for example, you can kind of overbank it right there, and then you kind of smooth that out. You can kind of go through and smooth out three pieces at a time, which I only got two that time. Yeah, so something like this, and then let's see. Which obviously that I messed that up because of the rocks and stuff. But as you can kind of see, just trying to bank it just a tad bit more when you go around these turns. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh, I didn't realize you did all this detail in here. That's awesome. Well, my bad to, to mess that up when I was going over this. Um, but yeah, that's like I said. I mean, it's a good coaster. I think just a couple things here and there, and smoothing is something that was tough for me to kind of get used to for a while. But I feel like I've done a pretty good job and not perfecting it, but kind of getting better at it. There's still certain coaster types I feel like are tougher to smooth out than others. Like for me, the easiest ones to smooth out are wooden coasters or RMCs, especially RMC hybrids. Those things are super easy to get smooth. Whereas I think wing coasters, inverts, some of those for me are just a little bit tougher. But as we continue down this way, yeah. And so another thing too is you're kind of I like how you've got these 10-meter paths because that definitely saves you on the percentage counter. But one thing you could do is when you create pieces on a grid, that actually saves you a lot in terms of the percent that you can use and so forth towards your park, which I like that you've got the train kind of running alongside here. This is pretty nice. And I like that train station. It's nothing too crazy, but it fits. Okay, now we got the Vertigo sign, which I know I've seen this one on the workshop before. And I'll just add, obviously add railings to this part right here in that part. Let's see, what does it say? Coaster layout. Okay. So the stats, we've got G-forces look really good. Almost all green. right. Yeah, so that was a good coaster. Um, maybe some more banking there at the end to kind of add a little bit of uniqueness to it after that when I hit that brake run. Let's see, the sign is by Mavs Fan 4. Dude is just insane at signs. Him and Brivades, it's absolutely insane. Um, okay, so it looks like that might have been originally going to something. But yeah, I mean, I like to me, I think the only issue is this is so separated from the rest of the park. Like there's no restrooms, there's no bathrooms, there's kind of nothing over there. So, this could have been something that maybe could have been done in this area or something, or have some other kind of connection back to the path. Um, yeah, a lot of different trees used. So we got another. Okay. So we got one more coaster to look at in this park, and there's some other things too. And then we got the water, the log flume. Uh, is that 7? Is that what it's supposed to say? I think that's supposed to mean 7. Let's see what this is called. I don't know. So let's go up the queue. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, the coaster comes just right there. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have fencing on here. Um, and then like I like this style for the station. Just continue it all the way down to the ground. Is what I would say. But yeah, it looks good. So this is called 7. So it's an invert. See, G forces look really good. 7 inversions, all right. Yeah, one thing I really like too with this creator did is like there's no problem with using stuff off the workshop. Like you still have to make it fit into your park nicely, and so I got no issues with that. Like, um, there might be some pieces here or there that I used off the workshop. Like my latest park, I used some Otami P's, like um, stuff to kind of deck out a shopping, like a shop's place, basically. But just make sure and credit the creators, whether that be through the description or in this case, this creator did with the description and a sign. All right, so I think that's my second favorite in the park. I still think the first coaster I like the most. I think the first half of this, I mean, it's a really strong coaster and very unique kind of turn. And that turn was really smooth as well. So I think he did a good job with this. The massive emblem there. Yeah, this is a strong layout for sure. So now as we go back this way by the Ice Age, I think that was all the coasters that are in the park. Um, let's see. So we got the Ice Age. So this is really cool. Um, so kind of creating this. And I think this is also something else got off the workshop maybe because when we click on it, it looks like it's in some other language. I think the name of it. Um, Maybe French. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that. But this is really cool though. It gives a good visual too as you're kind of wherever you are in the park. Kind of gives that globe look, which is really, really cool. Yeah, so we got some restrooms here. I like how they're kind of, you got the doors. What doors did you use for that? Oh, commercial doors. Oh, that's cool. Is this also, okay, so one thing you could do here to stop people from walking through the walls is you could place down barriers. So, um, like how you got this here. If you place it, let's see, gosh, why is it? Yeah. So if you just place it inside the wall like this or inside the under the ground, what's going to happen is you're all of a sudden going to see that people can't walk through the walls anymore. So now they don't walk through the wall because there's a barrier there. So that barrier prevents people from walking in that direction. And is this just staff rooms? Yeah. Um, yeah, so one thing you can do as well is place the barriers here, but kind of have an opening where um, the staff would actually walk. Yeah, nice big open um, kind of dining space. You got a lot of shops in here, so a lot of food to choose from. One thing you could have done instead of having these lights potentially is use the area lights. And when you use the area lights, you could use let's see. Let me get the balcony term off of here. So you could do the colorable area lights, and for example, which I should have put the angle snap on, but oh well. And then when you move them up and you could kind of put them inside the ceiling like this, they kind of become like recess lighting, right? So if you put it like that, it kind of hides everything else except that light. And you can kind of turn them down a little bit lighter. So, um, for example, let's say, and we'll look at the, so you see how light that is, right? One thing you can do is if you look at the coloring, if you turn it to more of a gray, it kind of makes it a little bit more dim, right? So the darker you go, the less it kind of shows. But then the lighter you go, obviously, the more bright it is. So you could do like a gray, a dark gray, which is just going to be more of a dim light. So you could have them every 4 meters, every 8 meters, something like that. Ooh, that is cool. Those lights, that's cool. And, since we're at it, let's go ahead and take an overview look at night. And so, definitely lit up some of the coaster areas. Nice. Everything looks good. Nothing overly done, nothing like overly saturated. Let's see. Let's go back to daytime for this part over here. Okay, so that was for the food. Oh, so you got to walk through here to get over here. Okay. Oh, that's cool. It's like a little kids area or something. April 2nd. It's okay to be different. Oh, autism awareness. That's awesome. Love, hope, accept. So I'm actually, this is just really cool how this is all done. Um, yes, I'm a high school math teacher, and I teach a couple of classes that have, kids with learning disabilities in them. Um, and so I kind of work with some kids on that spectrum sometimes, but it's definitely rewarding and stuff. And yeah, I love this kind of, oh, it's a face in the background. Oh, that's so cool. So well done. Wow, that's awesome. Really, really cool. So that's a cool touch. Really cool touch in this part. So we got some more lockers. Okay. And this is the log flume exit. And this looks like the train station. This might be the... Oh, this is the coolest station. Oh, that's awesome. Christmas trees are awesome too. This is a cool station. Only thing I'd say is you gotta put some fencing up around the edges there, but that to me is your best station in the park. That is really well done. Really awesome. Just the details on it and stuff are nice. Really, really cool. And then we got like a little monument here. Um, lest we forget. So I don't know exactly what this specifically is referencing, but this is really cool. It looks like you got somebody in the military. I don't know exactly what, if that's a certain war it's referencing or what, but that's a really cool. And I'd love for you to let me know. Um, really cool touch. So then we go. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. You got to pass through the lockers to get here, but you got to put your stuff in the lockers, obviously. All right, so we got the log flume. So, um, let's see. Yeah, so there's not really a ton to this log flume in terms of kind of where it goes with theming and stuff. So we'll just kind of look around the track as it kind of goes through the tunnel here. And like I said before, I think this personally is not how I would have chosen to approach the log flume, just because it kind of takes away from some of the other visuals in the park, in my opinion. And like maybe the focal point of that building or the building over here. Um, so that's kind of my takeaway on the log flume area. But now we've looked at the entire park. It's definitely a good park. There's a lot of things done really well in this park, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I think this coaster was still my favorite coaster, and then second, or maybe this one's second. I don't know. They're pretty solid coasters, so I think you did a good job. And just remember, when you have interiors like this, you can place the flooring because it really kind of separates it and makes it look nice. Like even over here, um, and here we could do flooring as well. So like if you just click on a wall piece, what kind of flooring do we want to do in here? Oh, I always like the temple pieces, the Gozier temple, wherever that is. Haunted house roofs look good too. Stucco roof, no. Um, oh, here it is. Yeah, and so you can color this like whatever color you want. Like I kind of like a light bluish. Those are always look good. Or maybe not that much. Maybe something like that. You can kind of have it stand out. I don't know if that's something that color you'd like, but you just once again just sink it down into the wall. Then we so it kind of covers up some of those imperfections, right? And that's the whole point of doing this is it kind of creates this more realistic look to it. And yeah, so then you're able to just do this. Where you could do those hazard strips, you could do the balcony piece, you could even take some art pieces to kind of create that border. But yeah, and so forth. And so obviously that's what I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, just copying stuff and moving them, but it's all good. Yeah, so obviously this is what it would start looking like, and what you can do once again is if we're not going to use the hazard strips this time. So let's say you could I wouldn't really use the actual curbs in the game, because they sometimes they. I'm blanking on my words right now. But yeah, you could actually take art shapes and use art shapes if you wanted. Um, you could use the real thin one like this and flip it up, so you could make this kind of black or something, or maybe a dark gray. So you could do that and turn it up this way. So that's an option. So it kind of just creates that separation between the two, right? So that's something you could do. Let's look at that balcony piece that I talked about, because I want you guys to see what that looks like for anybody who hasn't used this. Let's see, balcony. Yeah, so if we're going to color, I forget which one actually colors it. There we go. It's the last one. Really, the only one you need to color is the last one. So it's not as wide, but it still kind of gets, like I said, you can use it um, as a border for planters and stuff too sometimes if you choose to. But yeah, so you can kind of see, using some different pieces in the game to kind of separate your interiors from your exteriors. Um, and yeah, so I think this looks good. Another thing I've seen as well that Nerd Chacho does great is adding that realism is you take the fencing and you take these right here. Let's see, let's change this like gray or white. I think this is the one he uses. Yeah, and so you can have this along the top edge, and so what that represents is that at the end of the evening, it would represent that kind of pull down, like a lot of the shops have these pull down kind of shutters or blinds to kind of lock up their place. So something like that. Yeah, so ultimately, like I said, this is a nice park. And I'm excited to see what you work on with your next park, because I think the great thing about this game is we all continue to improve as with each park we build. And so that's why I'm hoping too with my next park is that I'm able to build and expand upon the knowledge and the skills that I've gained in my previous park. And like I said, as always, make sure to, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. Make sure to go download and rate on the workshop. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.